Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dire Gentleman channel, the biggest channel, the greatest channel, better than all the other channels which are trying to be. I've heard that they're pretty bad, all things considered. I don't need to say it, other people are saying it.
Yes, and today we're having the best video on the best movie that no one has ever seen. No one's saying this until I started saying this.
You know, I was talking to my good friend Mo Moe. You know, I'm very good friend, great guy, great guy. And he said, Dire Gentleman channel, you guys aren't talking about this great movie. And I think maybe that's because of China.
China!
Okay, we've now lost all of your subscribers.
Whoa.
Hello, those of you who are not cowards, and welcome back
Hooray!
to, Gus and we subjected Gus to a horrible thing.
Oh man, it's good to be back, you know, now that all the subscribers are gone, I can start again with reviewing bad movies and drinking while doing it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
No one's ever done that before.
Yep, Meg and I are both drinking
Fresh
dark
new
and
format.
stormy nights for this.
Well, it's
How
just called a
appropriate.
dark and stormy.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
called a dark and stormy night, it's just called dark and stormy.
Great, now I look like a total verge.
It's okay. Hashtag sad.
Take it from here, Gus.
It's alright, man. If God meant us to understand alcohol, he wouldn't have made alcohol cause us to misunderstand things. Anyway, I am drinking a Moscow Mule, so there's some Russian collusion happening in my
Oh my
brain right
god,
now.
you're right! He said collusion. Do you get it?
I mean, our drinks are orange.
Oh my god, we are drinking the orange thing, and you're drinking the Russian thing.
For what it's
Yeah,
worth, people at home,
exactly.
if you're groaning about, like, these jokes, imagine this for, like, an hour and a half.
But it's also a really bad, like, scary movie style parody of Halloween.
And that is President Evil, the only Donald Trump slasher film released in 2018.
Exactly, and also the only one released ever, not just in that year. And no, I know from the sound of that title, you might be thinking, oh, is Mila Jovovich in this? She is not.
God, I wish.
Oh, Mila Jovovich. Sounds awfully Russian there, Gus.
Yeah.
There's no collusion.
Do you get it?
Jeez. Okay, so Meg and I cannot even remember how the fuck we
I
found
think
this.
I was just scrolling through,
Oops.
Are we allowed to say the name, or will that get them got?
You were on Mo Moe's private, website for streaming video.
Yes, we were on
Yes.
Momoe's
We were
streaming
on
service.
Moflix.
Moflix, yeah. Momoe Plus. Somehow, we found a movie. I think I may have just typed Donald Trump in just to see if anybody had made a Trump movie. And one of the results was a film called President Evil. And that immediately had my interest because back when I was first learning how to use Photoshop in, 2006, one of the first things I ever made in Photoshop was photoshopping George Bush onto the poster for Resident Evil and changing the title of the movie to President Evil. And I thought I was the most, hilarious, subversive, indie artist on the entire internet.
I mean, Meg, if this was back in the 2000s, I guarantee you were.
It was just
12?
you and Joss Whedon.
I don't want to say that the fact that I made a poster that said President Evil and it had a picture of George Bush on it, I don't want to say that that's why he lost the election, but, he lost the election.
But he didn't lose in 2008. He wasn't up for re-election. It had two terms
God
at
damn
that
it,
point.
that's right. Listen, I'm an Australian. I don't know how these things work. I'm an Australian who lived in America at a time when I was too young to vote. So I have no reason to understand how their political system works.
Well, speaking of not understanding how the political system works, we bring you this movie. A movie in which a man dons a Donald Trump mask and hunts down a Haitian woman, a Muslim woman,
A Mexican woman and a transgender man who fought in the war.
And who is also Middle Eastern.
Who is the brother of the Muslim.
We live in a dangerous world, Pepe. Muslim, Mexican, Haitian, gay, black, transgender, they don't want us to be part of their elitist society. If it was up to them, They've thrown us all away.
No, these people aren't all walking into a bar. This is just a combo platter of people that Donald Trump, during his term, made policies that directly hurt. And that much is true. But this, in terms of just a masked man hunting them down personally, this is a wildly inconsistent movie in how you're meant to feel. I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is a bad movie.
Oh. Yeah.
A smelly movie. A stinky movie. A poopy movie. And I hate it.
And you hate it.
Yeah, my new catchphrase.
Yeah, so to give you some context, we'll try as best as we can in our drunken and frustrated stupor to express the events of this movie. It says everything that we're basically doing a scene-for-scene parody of 1977's Halloween. Iconic movie, birthed arguably the slasher genre as it is today. And crucially, it's worth mentioning, this movie came out, I believe, just before the 2018 midterms, which is actually the night that it's set. But it was basically meant to be an exploitation movie on both the 2018 Halloween coming out, the midterms coming up.
Yeah.
And, President Evil pun, I want to say, shouldn't be confused with Resident Evil. There won't be any big mommy milkers here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no big titty vampire girlfriend.
Incidentally, there is a weirdly misogynistic parody of Stormy Daniels in the first scene, and they do the incredibly, 2000s joke of, she has breast implants and they blow up when they're stabbed.
Okay, they do a joke that was done funnier in the first Scary Movie. Let that sink in, that there is a way to do a boob implant joke in a horror movie, that is more tactless and lame than the way that Scary Movie did it.
Also, I just want to point out that, I legit thought that first part of the movie was, a fantasy sequence, because, basically it begins with, the person who is later revealed to be the killer seeing his mother, who's this porn star, who's, Scorchy whatever, who's a parody of,
Scorchy
Stormy
McDaniels.
Daniels. Yeah, and, this guy shows up, and they go upstairs, and they, have sex, and I timed this, because this was so jarring, he is downstairs and leaving with his coat on in less than 30 seconds.
But see, that's a timeline inconsistency that they have taken straight from Halloween.
Yeah.
But, they don't make a joke about it.
For context, Gus, have you
yeah.
seen the original Halloween?
No.
But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. You're not a born and bred horror fan. You're still getting into it.
Yeah.
But point is, this movie, you have to understand, weirdly, is in many ways basically a scene-for-scene parody.
Shot for
of
shot
Halloween.
In some parts. They've got, the scene where the car is following them down the street. They've got the scene where, the main character is hiding in the closet. They've got, kills that are very reminiscent of the first Halloween movie. They've got the classroom scene where she looks out the window and he's there. But in this one, they do a hilarious joke about Donald Trump staring into the sun during the eclipse.
This movie is a greatest hits collection of just random bullshit Donald Trump did.
Yeah, no,
in
it's
the last
if
4
you
years.
if you saw that thread that was Donald Trump's greatest hits of bullshit that everybody forgot that he did because he kept doing more bullshit. Things like him in the postman truck yelling, him shouting at the little boy mowing the lawn, him staring at the sun, the orb, all of that shit. That is what this movie was.
So if you recall the 2000s, how every lame comedy show or special from that time was all quoting George Bush and doing everything that he ever did. This is the equivalent of that. It's just this very base level, doesn't do anything but regurgitate things you've already seen, doesn't do anything clever with the jokes. It's just oh man, he did do that at one point in real life, so let's do it here. It'll be a fully formed joke.
We are certainly watching a real film.
This feels like something from 20 years ago.
Yeah, it has big movie energy.
This feels but not even just in the fact that it does feel like a lost scary movie. In the fact that the way that it approaches political comedy is so non-nuanced, and it really does smack of like Bush era like comedy where it was just like, remember that time that George Bush said a word wrong, and that's it.
It's almost indecipherable to like see like whether this is like meant to be a bigoted film or like a woke film. I think it leans more that like some like liberal like blue checkmark people on Twitter would have made this movie or would have been behind it, because I can't fathom conservatives being, their humor would be more mean than this. It would be less funny, but it would be more mean.
That being said, the humor in this is very mean.
It is. It's incredibly mean-spirited.
Like, all of the minorities in it except one are, like, butchered. Again, what's so important to remember is that this was 2018. So, a hilarious amount of stuff in this movie has aged like milk. One of my favorite examples being the, like, heroic, like, sheriff character is called Sheriff Mueller. And it's like, oh yeah, because Robert Mueller, he really ended up mattering. Like,
Oh, yeah,
like, that whole Mueller investigation, that really like came to a head and like real shit went down. Like, no.
One thing you gotta know about Mueller is he peeled that orange. He peeled him.
He
Put him in the
crushed
blender.
that
Made
Cheeto.
some. Yeah, he made that orange.
He made that orange Julius.
He made that Oompa Loompa his slave, made him work in his factory, and warn people about vague traps that caused them to die on a tour.
It is ultimately like a lot of us off mic. We've had this conversation. Like, where is this movie's political leanings? Because again, like Gus said, it's so inept in its like messaging and jokes that you genuinely can't tell. Because here's the thing: it's like on one hand, it could be just the kind of idiot blue check Twitter liberal, like, you know, playing the hits.
Yeah.
Like, all the things that they thought was really funny, like Covfefe and Tiny Hands and all that shit. Or you could say it's like someone who doesn't agree with those people making something that is making fun of all of these, like, all of these things that, like, blue check Twitter liberals think matters. But again, it's too subtle for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not enough of anything. It's genuinely nothing.
Yeah, so if you can't tell, we've basically been tormented by this movie ever since we all collectively saw it. And this video is essentially an effort to exorcise this demon from us in the form of cathartic YouTube ribbing, like the classic good old days.
The thing about this movie is, now, it's one of those films that in many ways resists the kind of, like, Channel Awesome style, like, just linear retelling of it, because, again, it's legitimately just the plot of Halloween.
It's the exact
but
plot
Trump
of
things
Halloween.
happen. So, really, the only way that it can be discussed is talking about individual, like, strange, stupid moments in it in a way that feels almost like trying to recount a dream to someone. Like, for example, there's a child character in it called Pepe, whose family was deported by ICE.
Well, his parents were deported by ICE, and so he lives with his sister, and his sister's name is Blanca.
Yeah, which just naturally gave me, like, Nam flashbacks.
Yeah.
Oh god, he Sierra'd her Blancas.
You Sierra the Blancas! It's the room deck killer again!
This is the rub dick killer. Because this whole thing feels like Alex Aldea wrote it.
Oh, yeah!
It has the Heads of Sierra Blanca level of
Cultural
subtlety.
awareness.
I was waiting for Danny Trejo to show up with a Rube Deck machine.
I mean, Henry, does the timeline not line up? I mean, we didn't look too deeply into the background of this, you know? I don't know, man. At one point in time, maybe this was the Heads of Sierra Blanca movie proceeding without your involvement.
Do you know, I would be more than happy for this to proceed without my involvement, because this is one of those movies that's genuinely unsavable, because a wider conversation perhaps worth having around this is that, like, what really is the merit of any of these jokes at the end of the day? Because the thing is, I think a lot of the reason that people like to make Trump jokes is that A, he's an inherently pretty ridiculous guy.
Yeah.
But B,
Yeah.
I think as a form of, like, in-the-moment stress relief for what was a very bizarre situation. But these being lined up in this, like, cinematic context really just hammers home how stupid and vapid and pointless all of it is. Because, like, it's like the whole, like, John Oliver thinking that, like, calling him Drumpf would, like, would take him down.
Yeah. Oh no, you've said his true name. He's going to be sealed back into the hell dimension he came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's not like the Fae. You don't get like you don't get like control over him if you know his true name.
I mean, to be fair, if Alex Aldea wrote a topical comedy, it would be this.
Biggest quotation marks around
It
it.
would be this. A big thing I compared this movie to is this one weird Twitter dude called Jeff Tiedrich.
If you know about Jeff Tiedrich, you know about Jeff Tiedrich.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
he's like one of Trump's biggest reply guys.
He replied to while Trump was president,
while he was on Twitter.
While he was on Twitter, he replied to all of Trump's tweets with the phrase, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
Oh God, I am pretty open about the fact that I voted against Trump in the recent election, but I am glad that there was no second term, just for the fact that there's not going to be a sequel to this movie called President Evil Second Term.
God, you're so right. And you know what? We all gotta stop him getting reelected in 2024.
Yeah, or like
Exactly.
that
or there'll
should
be another one of these bad movies.
Or there will be another one of these movies.
Yeah, whoever is running against him in 2024, that should be their campaign. Do you really want a second President Evil movie?
But the thing is that like a lot of annoying Democrats will be like, "Yes, I do want a second President Evil movie. I thought the first one was hilarious."
And those people are fucking the worst thing about society. Because as a YouTube reviewer, I think that the worst thing that anything or anyone can ever bring about is a bad movie. When somebody makes a bad movie, that is a moral action equivalent to 1 billion genocides. That is the same as killing everyone in the world 1 million times over and then implanting those memories into their children that they somehow brought back in the bodies of snails and then stepped on the snails. That is what making one bad movie is equivalent to in my universe as a YouTube reviewer.
The opinions of Gus Zagarella do not necessarily represent those of his co-hosts. But yeah.
Speak for yourself, Henry. Whoever made Willy's Wonderland should be given the
Strung
death
up, I'm
penalty
sure.
and charged with like 70 counts of having done a hate crime.
But the thing is,
Let's talk about I'm gonna make my air quotes audible, characters.
yeah, I was going to say, because let's be honest, people aren't here for thematic analysis. They're not here for deep shit. They're here at the freak show. And they want us to parade out every lurid bit of weirdness that we had to suffer through.
Can I say that as like a lifelong fan of the horror genre, it makes me very sad that this is the first time I have ever seen a Muslim final girl. And it's probably the last time I will see a Muslim final girl for a while in an American-made film.
And it was in President fucking Evil.
It makes me very annoyed when minorities are, like, treated as inherently political the way that this movie treats them.
I think perhaps the most prophetic moment of the movie, or just the most, like, symbolic, is the bit when Lana walks in on all of the dead bodies arranged like in Halloween, and they just have, like, the Mexican one, the Haitian one, the transgender one written on their body, like, because again, that's this movie's approach to characters.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a reason why I don't remember the Haitian girl's name very well. It's because she dies first and she has the least amount of scenes, and it's like, wow, really making a statement about Donald Trump and/or horror movies by killing the black person first. Really breaking new ground there.
Yeah, like the black dude dies first was like being parodied in the 90s.
Scary Movie did so many much better jokes, like around like black people being anxious about like dying at the hands of the horror.
Well,
To be
like,
fair,
even
Scary Movie was made by black people.
The movie that
the
we
Wayans
watched,
brothers
yeah,
like wrote and
we
directed
watched,
it.
Exactly.
We watched
Yeah,
the movie.
yeah.
Like, there's a joke in the movie Freaky, which we watched a few days ago. The joke that they should have made in President Evil, but were too cowardly to, and also too stupid to, which was there's a scene where, just for a little bit of context, the Freaky is a sort of a body swap movie where a girl swaps bodies with a serial killer. So she goes to school to find her friends in the body of Vince Vaughn, the serial killer, and she's chasing them down, and obviously her friends think that that she's gonna kill them. And the male friend of the two is they're running down the hallway, and the male friend goes, we can't stop running. I'm gay. You're black. We're totally screwed.
Yeah.
And they don't even have the self-awareness to make that joke. They just play the trope completely straight.
Exactly.
In Resident Evil.
Further proof that, like, the only people who should be making parodies of, like, slasher horror are black people. And if you're a white person who takes offense to that, live a long and prosperous life, have a family, die at a nice old age, surrounded by your family, and get reincarnated as a black person. That's my answer to you.
Jesus Christ.
Shots
Fucking
fired
hell.
on Gus's end tonight.
But yeah, like, ultimately, it's one of those things where, like, this movie is, like, if I was to pick one word to describe the whole thing that wasn't just, like, stupid or something like that, it would be superficial.
Yeah.
Because everything about it is superficial. Not only in its approach to, like, Trump and, like, the political zeitgeist, but in its approach to horror in general, because there are so many bizarre, like, superficial parodies of moments, like, obviously most of it is Halloween, but, like, for example, the bit where Lana's dad is killed and falls back down the stairs is a clear homage to the shot from Psycho.
Where the guy is falling down the stairs.
Yeah, one of the murders in that. They at multiple points, like, bizarrely, like, play music from Dario Argento's Suspiria. And again,
scenes where nothing is happening.
They milked the shit out of, like, the Suspiria music. They used it, like, so much. Like, did they just, like, yeah, that's the one thing we acquired to make this movie's soundtrack. I don't even think there was another piece of music as far as this movie was concerned.
Other than, like,
I think there's a lot of, like, ambient music.
Yeah,
but, like,
and then there was a lot of, like, the Halloween, like, a lot of that bullshit.
The whole soundtrack felt very garage bandy.
Oh yeah, Henry was saying that, like, some of it sounded like the music that, like, the fake music that I made for Riley to listen to
in Less is More.
Which I made to be, like, intentionally the worst music I could think of, because I was like, yeah, I want this to be anxiety inducing.
The thing is, you can do that sort of, like, really, like, sort of, like, synthy, scary music really well and make a whole soundtrack out of, like, stuff that just vaguely reminds you of the 80s. Like, It Follows, where the soundtrack really helps you feel like you're displaced in time and you're in, like, every decade where, like, a killer will hunt down people. Like, that movie does a great job, and I can't believe I actually would even mention that in the same video as President Evil.
Well, the thing is, comparisons are unavoidable because the way the movie is structured invites them.
Yeah,
because they
it
keep
just
trying
rips
to
off everything.
Exactly, because the thing is, you can't call it a parody. You can't call it a parody because it doesn't satisfy the two things of either commenting on the original somehow or making it funny.
Yeah, it's not making a joke about anything.
It's very Channel Awesome-y.
It thinks that naming the thing itself is a joke.
Again, like, so, like, it's like To Boldly Flee.
And the thing, too, is that, like, the quality of this is like, okay, to be fair to them, they don't have much wind interference, but that is replaced with the worst fucking ADR I've ever seen.
Oh, God!
Where the lips don't even match! There is a dude in this movie who is voiced, like, very obviously to be like Bill Clinton, and
that was so weird!
And because his, like, voice is so, like, removed, like, I can't even tell if the person doing the voice is the same as the actor who was playing him when it's happening physically in front of me on the screen.
To give some context to that, there's this really weird scene where the psychiatrist, who is a parody of Dr. Samuel Loomis, as played by Donald Pleasence.
But who is also Vladimir Putin, because he's Russian.
Yeah, he's called Dr. Lutin.
Yeah, they call him Lutin because it's a mix between Loomis and Putin, which is real creative.
Yeah, wonderfully
That
subtle.
sounds like something that somebody would, like, call me in high school if they thought I, like, stole their gel pens or something.
Meg Lutin.
Yeah.
Meg Lutin? Yeah,
But
wow.
so there's this really bizarre scene where, again, just parodying Halloween, scene for fucking scene, he goes to look for the gravesite of Scorchy McDaniels, which was Judith Myers in the original, and they just have this
Yeah,
incredibly...
the gravedigger is just doing a Clinton voice for some reason.
Yes, and there's this incredibly overly long gag where they're walking past graves and he's just saying a bunch of names, and it's like everyone who like briefly worked at the Trump administration and was fired, and it's just like, legitimately, this is just like
It's
if
wank!
someone like lobotomized John Oliver and said, write a movie.
Yeah, and then at the end of that bit, they get to the grave, and there's like, and this is literally like a joke that, like, this is so Bush era, like 2004 to 2008 humor of like there's graffiti on the grave, and the gravedigger is just like agonizingly pointing out every single spelling error in the graffiti on the grave. So it's just like, hey, get it?
He misspelled his tweets sometimes.
He's stupid. He don't know how to tweet.
Yeah, no, this is like that particular gag took me back to like the 2000s again. That era where everybody was a fucking grammar Nazi, and that was like a cornerstone of everyone's personality. It's like, oh, I speak proper, you speak stupid, you text on phone, you watch Kardashian. Like it just this super vapid fucking this is like done by people who have to think they're better than other people. Like, and I think that also leads into the fact that, like, the main cast is all minorities, but, like, in a way that it's clear that, like, they just understand the broad strokes of how people that are not white live.
Yeah, like, these are, like, Henry, there's a part where they're listening to the radio and they hear, like, a soundbite from Obama, and the main characters, Lana and Blanca, are just like, oh man, remember Obama? Remember how great Obama was? That's what white people say, because, like...
Middle Eastern people don't love Obama.
People of color have never liked the government, because the government has never really acted in their best interests.
And this is worth getting into, too. The Obama that they're talking about on the radio, it's an impression of Obama, and it sounds based. He's super accepting of transgender people, of, like, LGBT people. He sounds like a guy who, like, actually has, like, way more progressive policies than the actual Obama, who, you know, whatever. I voted for him twice. He's fine. Whatever.
He's fine.
You know,
he's better than the alternative.
But, on the contrary, they also have radio Donald Trump impressions that paint Donald Trump as way more competently evil than he actually is. Because Donald Trump, not a very intelligent man, he's an old man, his brain's degrading, he has a lot of, like, stupid things. But, the way that the Donald Trump in this movie talks, it is akin to, like, a Rush Limbaugh, Satan rest his soul, or a, like, Alex Jones. It is someone who is, like, a specific hate monger who goes after these groups, who profits off of it, and has a big motivation for doing it. That's never been Donald Trump. Donald Trump has always been a useful idiot for these people.
Yeah, Donald Trump is a symptom of the illness, not the illness itself.
Exactly. And so when you contrast this completely out of whack, out of character, not real Donald Trump with the fact that this killer who wears the Donald Trump mask the whole movie is, like, mute and has no lines, you really get the sense that, like, this isn't about, like, Donald Trump or, like, people of Donald Trump's political persuasion provoking the, like, flames of hatred throughout America and provoking, like, stochastic terrorism. This is literally just about Donald Trump is a being akin to Satan who can, invest himself in a vessel who will then carry out his will of specifically attacking individuals over, like, weird interstitial elements of their identity.
There's, like, a weird, satanic thing where Dr. Luton is, like, trying to raise the Antichrist into this Donald Trump man's body. And you're so right, that it is, like, they treat Donald Trump like he's this evil thing that possesses people, and not just, like, the conduit of like, sentiments that already existed.
I think that's what, for me, settles that this was, like, a blue-check Twitter liberal thing, because I don't think any sentiment is more uniquely them than, everything was perfect before Trump came along.
Yeah.
And now everything can be perfect again. Now Biden is back. Because isn't Biden wonderful? Just want to say, for the record, just in case anyone gets it twisted on where we stand, like, he's better than Trump, but fuck Joe Biden still.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're no
Exactly.
fucking friends of
Yeah,
Joe
like-
Biden and Kamala
like,
Harris.
I would rather have a normal, like, lying, useless politician in charge of the country instead of, like, an actual dictator. But Joe Biden is a lying, useless politician.
Yeah, we're not like we don't play the games that the fucking like tribalists play.
No.
Like, we don't worship people on top. We want them to be held accountable, and we want them to work for the people.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, then like fuck them. It's the same reason that like again the fawning over Obama, so liberal, because again people who are actually on the left know that
Criticize
Obama
Obama as
yeah,
well.
like, because again, so ironic to have this Muslim woman and a Mexican
The Mexican
woman.
girl whose parents were taken away by ICE. Obama invented ICE. ICE was created while Obama was in the White House, guys.
The thing is, I have been under fire for this because of like previous videos I've made talking about the bad things that America has done during Trump's term, but also in general. And people like had this idea in their head that like personally I dislike Donald Trump. It's like, no, I think he's bad, but I think that the office of president is also an institution that disproportionately empowers people to make stupid decisions. It's the whole reason we have checks and balances in the first place. It's the whole reason we have a Congress and a House which should be functioning but aren't. And it's the whole reason we have like a judicial branch. America was founded on this idea. It was founded on the idea that a bunch of founding fathers didn't really know how much power to give the people, but it was founded on the idea that it should ideally be a democracy. It should be the will of the people. Everything is non-functional because there is still this strain of conflict between the founding fathers who believed that democracy was an outright good and that people should govern themselves, and that and the ones that were like, oh no, the federal government should hold a small amount of people, should hold a small amount of power, electoral college, programs like that, and let's just keep it all focused on just out of the hands of the rabble who can't control themselves. And this mindset has been replicated a million times over, and you can't say that it's unique to any one politician. You can pick your enemies, but at the end of the day, if you start ascribing any of this shit to the existence of good or evil, you're missing the fucking point. This is imitation, and we need to escape it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this isn't a conversation that President Evil is at all interested in having. Again, you may say, why would you even like expect this from from the Donald Trump slasher movie? Does the Donald Trump slasher movie need this? I would, to which counter, do we need the Donald Trump slasher movie?
Don't need a Donald Trump slasher
need-
movie.
And the fact that he's literally empowered by Satan in this movie, like, Henry, you said that like is proof that it might be by like blue checkmark like Twitter liberals. I, on the other hand, think, yeah, that's a possibility, but also the fact that it's so evil that like they built him up so much, like it almost feels like this is like a right-wing person's hyperbolic parody of what they think a left-wing person would think. And in either case, the person who made this or the views that came across in this movie are just representative of the people that like shouldn't be talking about politics because they're not informed by like actual policy or like actual like engagement with the real world. They're informed by like fucking Harry Potter narrative towards the whole idea of like the way we should view the world and view elections.
Yeah.
Whoever they're against is Darth Vader or Voldemort. Whoever they're for is, I don't know, Luke Skywalker, or whoever, the untested youth. Like, they always want to be the underdogs and fighting against the big evil empire. That's true on like both sides because that's American politics. If anyone on any political persuasion tries to like tie Star Wars or fucking Harry Potter into their belief system, just know that you're dealing with a fucking moron.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And again, doesn't it just show so much of this movie's ineptitude as a political comedy that so much of this video has just been devoted to the ambiguity of what the fuck it's saying?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the scene where the three girls beat up those two rednecks?
Oh
my god.
yes.
That's another thing that makes me think that this is a blue check liberal because these two rednecks, they're like yuppie guys in, like, button-up shirts
In LA.
but the two actors give them, like, very exaggerated southern accents, and it is such a, like, coastal elite, quote-unquote, way of thinking that bigotry only exists in lower-class areas of the country.
Bigotry is an accent rather than a belief.
And then they get their asses kicked by these 3 girls. One of whom is like 3 feet tall.
Again, it's so superficial.
I was
It all comes back to that word.
joking to Henry that the two actors that play the two rednecks are, like, they're probably, like, partners and they go to, like, improv comedy together and neither of them are funny.
I mean, they do have that vibe, because here's the thing. I think anyone who was in this, just based on the performance they gave, it's like, I don't know, like, this is definitely nobody's best work.
I mean, that's the thing. How can you judge anyone based on their performance in Resident Evil, because nothing could save this material?
No, nothing could.
Like, you could stack it with Oscar winners.
No.
And it would be just as shit.
You act in this movie and then, like, hope nobody remembers you did later.
Yeah, no, this is genuinely, like, the kind of, like, 10, 15 years time you're on, like, Conan, now that he's just an AI.
He's a head in a jar.
Yeah, like a brain in a jar or something.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, well, I heard early on in your career you had some real bumps. Roll the clip, Andy.
Alright, as an A5 non-binary person who has a lot of trans-masculine friends, I have been, a lot of people for a long time have been saying there needs to be more, like, female to male transgender representation and, like, masculine presenting transgender representation, because, the overwhelming amount of trans representation in media is female. Most, like, trans actors are female. And, I would like to take that back, because if we're gonna get representation that's like what we got in Resident Evil, I don't want it.
Oh, yeah. Right.
The actor, like, this is the case of this character is meant to be transgender, but, like, the way that he's written, it's so bad that, like, I was questioning whether or not this movie gaslit me.
Can I give him the context?
Yeah, I was questioning, like, is he?
Yeah.
Because the actor is cis. And they make the makeup department, there's shirtless scenes with him, and the makeup department has made no effort to, like, draw on 2 lines to be top surgery scars.
Yeah, they didn't even try. Like, they did not even try. Also, I have to say, so this character, they are, their whole character is in reference to the, transgenders being banned from the military bill.
Oh yeah, and then he gives this weird speech about transgender people, to which Pepe, the little boy, responds with, I think transgender people sound like heroes.
They sound like they save lives.
They save
exactly.
lives. How do they save? Listen.
As we all know, transgender people, combat abilities through the roof. The moment that you, like, realize you're trans, you suddenly master kung fu.
It's
To
like
be
the Avatar
fair,
state.
as a non-binary, that is true. Yeah. We are all very good at fighting. And we do save people's lives every day just by existing.
Exactly, and we cis people are all very afraid of, like, the DBZ power levels that all trans people have.
Like, if you're like...
That's why Trump gave the ban. He was worried that it would be unfair on America's enemies.
Yeah, like, it would be too easy for us to win wars.
Exactly, so you gotta give them a fighting chance.
Because as soon as you come out as trans, you go to your psychiatrist, you go to your doctor,
you go to your dojo,
GP, and you say, I would like to book in some gender confirmation surgery, and they give you a sword.
As much as we joke about this, again, the thing is, this movie is so mean and dumb in that it pays lip service to these ideas, but, like, have this scene, and then a couple scenes later, this supposed, like, war hero character is then, like, brutally murdered by our satanic Trump man.
Because...
And they establish it by, like, a quick cut to a magazine that's, like, Transgender Weekly, and, like, he's on the cover.
Oh, to be on the cover of Transgender Weekly.
And there's something so fucked up about basically this scene is the Trump slasher stabbing this man to death.
Yeah.
While TV background audio of their fake Trump impersonator is talking about how horrible trans people are is playing.
It was
and it's so
really
gross.
uncomfortable.
I imagine that would be like genuinely like traumatic for some people to watch.
And it was really uncomfortable. Like I'm not trans, but I am like not cis, and that made me super uncomfortable because it's like, dude, I don't want to see.
I think that was like the most exploitative kill in the entire film. And I just gotta say, like, I think I'm starting to lean more into this was made by liberals because the gun and the way they handle it in this movie, that seems like
somebody who's never touched a gun in their life.
They wouldn't just like, I brought this gun to a party, let me just fling it around and like, you know.
Yeah.
Let's let the kid hold it.
Yeah, let's let the little boy hold this giant, like, fucking weird futuristic sniper rifle.
Let's sit down on the couch and point the barrel directly at Pepe's face. Also, it's revealed later that this is a fucking, like, rocket launcher, and it can shoot a RPG missile. It's like, that's not a thing you bring to a party, you fucking lunatic!
It's like he got off the plane from the war, and he came straight to this party.
Yeah, like, he was committing a crime by bringing this gun anywhere near this party.
The other, like, weird joke that's in the same camp as the, transgender man being brutally murdered, the other joke that's kind of in that same camp is, there's a line where they're watching the bad Trump impersonator on TV, and you can hear him saying, like, something about, like, and as we all know, we gotta build the walls super high because Mexicans are expert rock climbers. Oh. And, they're saying, oh, that's so stupid, why would he say that? But then, when Blanca is being chased by the killer, she gets to what I guess is supposed to be the border wall.
In California.
In the middle of LA.
Yeah, what?
And she can't find a way around it. She pulls a grappling hook out of her bag and then proceeds to, you know, in the old Batman show where they would do the grappling hook shot, but it was clearly like them walking normally and then they've tilted the film strip sideways. They do that effect with her. So she gets to the other side of the wall, and then somehow he's on the other side of the wall and he kills her.
And then they pan over to a poster that says, like, your tax dollars paid for this war because Mexico refused.
This movie is just so mean.
Also, I just need to emphasize that while she was climbing up and down this wall, mariachi music was playing!
Yeah.
Yeah!
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because the beauty is, Gus, you can probably play as many clips of this thing as you want because I can't imagine it's held by a major studio. Oh, but, I believe in the bits that she's walking, there are clear, like, parking lot, like, stripes.
Yes!
On the ground.
God damn it.
The joke that really pissed me off is, and I kind of want to go off on, like, a little bit of a rant about this one. Not a long rant, but, like, there's okay, so you know the scene, Gus, you haven't seen Halloween, but, like, anybody listening to this who's seen Halloween, there's a really iconic scene in the film where after you think Laurie Strode stabs Michael Myers in the neck with a knitting needle, and he goes down, and she's in the foreground of the shot. And then in the background, you just see Michael Myers take the knitting needle out of his neck and sit up, like, kind of Dracula style.
Like bolt upright.
And they do a parody of that shot with the Trump killer, where he's been shot by Sheriff Mueller, and Lana is in the foreground, and then in the background, Mr. Trump killer is sitting up. But obviously, because he's fat, he can't get up. He can't do things that normal, beautiful people can do, and that's hilarious. And that pisses me off so much. As much as I hate Trump, I hate fat shaming more. You know, not to get too personal, but I grew up with a parent who has an eating disorder and who passed it on to me. So I am very sensitive to, and you know, eating disorders run in my family, so I'm very sensitive to people getting fat shamed. No matter if you agree with them or not, it is not okay to make fun of somebody's weight.
Exactly, because the way people like will use that against Trump specifically, it's like they live in a world where only Trump has ever been concerned about his weight. And the fact is, Trump does not give a damn about anything about him. So why would you go after that, which is a thing that other people actually struggle with?
Well, it's what people always say on Twitter, which is very true, which is Donald Trump isn't gonna see what you're saying about him. Your fat friends are.
Yeah, like your fat friends and family members are.
Like, Donald Trump's never gonna watch President Evil.
No.
What's stupid about like all the like, you know, the fat shaming stuff directed at Trump, it's like, yeah, nobody else is orange. Nobody else is like weird and dumb in the specific way that he is. No, like you can target so many other things about him, but why would you target the one thing he has in common with like the rest of the human race, you know? Why would you give this satanic subhuman antichrist any credit, any connection to the mortal coil? Why would you not
It's just the inherent hypocrisy of the blue check Twitter liberal, because again, a right-wing person wouldn't make that joke about Trump.
Exactly.
Like, don't be wrong, they'd make that joke about a million other people, especially women, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't make it about Trump.
There was a moment towards the end of this, like, okay, all the victims, like the transgender man and the Haitian girl and in the Mexican girl have all been killed, and all that's left is the Muslim girl who's like our central protagonist, the final girl. She is like running from the Trump killer through the streets, and she like knocks on the door of like this bank or whatever, and there's this like, I can only describe him as like a soy cuck on the other side of the glass.
He's supposed to be Jared Kushner.
Yeah, he's a parody of Jared Kushner.
Okay. So Jared Kushner is just apparently a soy cuck, because this dude is so
Yes, but
is so like Weasley. He's just so like, I won't break the glass to help you. I'm gonna be president someday. Like, okay, the fact that he's Jared Kushner, that makes a lot more sense.
And that's why he said, like, I might bring peace to the Middle East, because, like, Trump, again, it's the joke about, like, Trump giving Jared Kushner, like, a comical number of jobs that he's, like, not qualified for.
See, okay, this was my mistake. I thought for a moment that the people who were writing this actually had some self-awareness of the fact that there's like a lot of like white guys out there who are very specifically like, I hate the right people. I'm on the side of the minority. I'm the hero of the story. Like, I'm such a good ally that you should call me the chosen one. Like, there are people like that who exist, and I thought that like for a second there they were actually parodying that sort of person, but no. This was just directed at a Republican because obviously it's okay to mock people for not being traditionally masculine when they're evil.
Yeah, no, that's the whole thing of like the blue check Twitter. And I mean, this is a problem that a lot of people have.
They will reinforce the most like stupidly specific like masculine gender norms in the name of like being like, haha, my political opponent is not a real man. It's like, you motherfucker. You stupid idiot. You cannot call yourself a feminist. You cannot call yourself a progressive if you're going to just just throw it out the window for a quick gotcha or a quick dunk. You fucking rube. You fucking idiot.
It's the exact same thing as this movie plays into another one of the really shitty things of, like, all of the Trump-Putin gay jokes.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's such
God.
a thing that people do where it's like, everybody, like, like, it's not okay to make fun of these traits unless it's someone I don't like.
Yeah, it's the same reason why, obviously, we say fuck you if you misgender Lily Orchard. We don't like Lily, we don't agree with Lily on a lot, but you still have to abide by the laws of basic human decency.
Yeah.
It's fucked up because the Trump-Putin stuff, that's inherently homophobic. It's like, oh, the greatest threat to our country is that these men want to fuck each other. It's like, no, it's not because of that. It's because of, like, what this could do to democracy. Do you care about democracy? That's what's really at stake, not who's putting whose thing and who's what. God.
Yeah. They literally have like an Austin Powers style innuendo joke where it's a bit that it isn't actually what's happening, but it makes it look like Putin is just like, butt fucking.
Yeah,
Trump.
it's like Donald Trump is like the Trump guy is like stretching up against a tree, and then like Dr. Luton is just standing in the foreground in a way that made like they framed it very deliberately to look like he is tapping that ass from behind.
It's a thick ass. Like, no hate. I've seen that picture of him in the tennis shorts. Like, I'm just saying.
Donnie Thick.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Donnie Thick.
Exactly. Like, Donald, if you'd have renounced the racism, you could have had a lucrative career. I'm not gonna take
Don't
this any
finish that
further.
sentence.
Fucking.
That's
Oh
it,
boy.
Henry.
Okay, but I was just reminded because of the weird horny energy of the Luden David flashback scene. I was reminded of my favorite scene in the movie, and it's when the Muslim girl and the Mexican girl are confronted by the creepy priest outside of the school.
Oh my god, Father
That is
Giuliani.
Yeah, that is a big-lipped alligator and a half. Like, again, obviously he's meant to be, like, nominally a parody of Rudy Giuliani,
But also, like, the general concept of Catholicism.
True, but it's like, Trump's not a Catholic is the weird part.
No. But, like, he defends, like, the kinds of people that defend Donald Trump are the, you know, the people that defend your Cardinal George Pels and your, I don't know what the American equivalent of that is, but, like, right-wing people are always like, so what if he nonced some children? He's a priest.
Exactly. This dude is like Rudy Giuliani epic penis moment, the character.
Yes. It's so true, he is.
And like he does this weird thing where like he like he moves the Muslim girl's hand onto his crucifix and moves it up and down really suggestively. And when they punch him out for this, he's lying on the ground and he like starts like moving his hips and he's just humping
Gently
the grass.
humping the earth.
Yeah, that might be one of the like, legitimately funny moments.
It's my favorite scene.
Here's my favorite scene in the movie. When the ritual, when like Dr. Luton completes the ritual and like David, not Trump, is like takes the sacrament and like to take the Antichrist into his body, and Dr. Luton is like, now you can ascend to your final form, and his final form is exactly the same, but his hands are a little bit bigger. That was kind of funny.
That's silly because his hands should have gotten smaller, right? If he's embodying evil more. As we all know, Donald Trump is the embodiment
No, and
of
I'm just
evil.
like, I liked it because of just like, it's just like, what if your final demonic form was just like you, but like with one very small change?
Yeah,
That's the comedy of it. It's not even like her Donald Trump have small hands. It's like the idea that that's his final form is hilarious.
It's the same kind of joke as there's this SCP called the Desire Camera that like shows your deepest want in the photo taken of you. And they took a photo of one guy who was like working at the foundation that one day, and the photo was exactly the same except he was wearing a different colored tie. And it's like this man's greatest want was that he wanted like a purple tie to bring to work.
Yeah.
So it's the same comedy of like, why would you shoot that low? That's amazing.
Yeah.
The thing is, those are like the only like there's a few moments like that just have this kind of this mirth you wouldn't expect because the joke that they were likely intending didn't quite land. So just some weird thing that like an actor did
Yeah, you're so
or
right.
like an editor did like manages to be so fucking funny because the way this movie ends is the most like sanctimonious shit ever. Like,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, Gus, tell us.
so the Muslim final girl, given by, you know, our savior, Detective Mueller, she's given the gun that has the RPG on it, and before she blows up the killer, she goes, "You're impeached, motherfucker."
And again, which is so funny in hindsight, given that that's happened twice now, and it meant nothing.
Yeah, it meant nothing to anybody.
Exactly,
It was a waste
exactly.
of time.
He's out of office and still consolidated a bunch of political power in a bunch of like nationalist groups, and like the system's like actual methods of getting rid of danger have just not applied. Fucking Mother Nature's like actual ability to get rid of him has not applied.
At the end of the day, it just shows how little so many institutions matter when the person they're angled against doesn't respect them.
Yeah, it just doesn't give a shit about anything.
Like so many of these mechanisms rely on a person having a sense of dignity and shame.
Yeah, more than anything, Donald Trump is like the human embodiment of that old like children's nursery rhyme, like "I'm rubber, you're glue." Because it seems like whatever happens just bounces off of him and sticks to the rest of us, and we just have to live in the fucking sticky muck.
Yeah, it's like, you know how they used to call John Gotti the Teflon Don? I think the real Teflon Don is Donald Trump.
It's true. Nothing sticks to him.
Oh man, Gotti was Kino.
I knew you'd appreciate the Gotti reference.
Gotti! But anyway, so she blows up David Barron with the grenade launcher that's
her dead trans brother's grenade launcher.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we mentioned that the surname was Barron, but it's bully children. Who,
No,
have the
here's the
misfortune
thing.
to be-
That, again, it's a slightly deeper Trump cut. Yes, Barron is the name of his child, but back in the 80s, Trump used to pretend to be his own publicist, and one of the names he would give was John Barron.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a fucking nerd.
See, again,
Donald Trump's a nerd, everyone. Bully him.
See, again, that's the weird thing of just you people, you hate Trump, but you're fucking obsessed with him. But anyway, so she blows him up, and then Sheriff Mueller comes over and is like, oh, we gotta get you to a hospital. And she goes, there's something else I've gotta do first. And he goes, what could possibly be more important than, your own life? And she goes, vote. And I just want to say, for a start, how hilariously, again, like you said, goes sanctimonious. But number two, just the idea that this character, the way she's been characterized, wouldn't have voted earlier in the day on the midterms.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's so awful, and it's vote, but don't protest, don't rock the boat, don't advocate for anything more than just not Donald Trump.
To be fair, they are preparing to go to a protest and making their protest signs and stuff. But again, it's this whole thing of all of the world's evil starts and ends with Trump.
Yes, and I really don't want to be confused with someone who's don't vote because it doesn't mean anything. Voting is super important, always do it, always fucking do it. If you don't do it,
you're spitting in the face of many, many people.
Yeah.
If you do not take your opportunity to vote, which is, again, a privilege that fewer people are having, the more Republicans gerrymander and keep people out of it. If you're not taking the opportunity to vote or to find a way to advocate for more people to get a chance to influence democracy, I think you deserve to be a second-class citizen. And this is easily remedied if you actually fucking cast a vote.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's such a difference between people who are actually disenfranchised, people who are gerrymandered, people who have their votes purged, people who typically racial minorities, black people
who can't get off work on voting days.
Exactly. Or people who get arrested on bullshit charges and because they have a criminal record can't vote, or that shit. But if you're someone who can vote, you're not someone who's been disenfranchised, and you're just thinking, I just think I'll sit this one out. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're not superior for sitting it out. You're siding with the status quo. Inaction is an action. A lack of choice is a choice.
Yeah, you're implicitly letting whatever goes on happen, and you're gonna it seems like you're just gonna bitch about it if it doesn't go your way, but you were never a part of the equation if you don't vote. Fuck you.
Exactly. But anyway, it's just this whole idea that, and I'm saying this as a British person, not in any way a US citizen, never voted in a US election, it genuinely feels at points that this movie was made by people who weren't even American, or at least written by a non-American, because it just seems to show such an ignorance of America and how Americans think and act.
A very surface level understanding about how
superficial again.
Yeah, incredibly superficial.
I think the main takeaway from President Evil is that this is what the past 4 years did to certain people's brains. And I can only hope that the benefits of people understanding more about systemic issues and understanding more why we need reform, what pre-existing parts of our government process led to this stage and to these ideas being propagated. I hope that the benefits outweigh the sort of brain dead brunch Harry Potter Star Wars shit that this is an indication of. And I hope in some ways that the one legacy President Evil has is for people to point and laugh at it and think wow, I can't believe people back in 2018 were willing to ignore the real issues and make something this stupid and superficial.
Yeah.
I think to give it a final, slightly less heavy closing note, don't watch Resident Evil. Like, even if you've hated this video about it, you'll still have enjoyed it more than you'll enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
It's genuinely a shit waste
Borderline
of time.
unwatchable.
Like, watch anything else. Watch paint dry. Watch porn. Watch the fine selection of videos on the Dire Gentleman
You will
channel.
be doing. Listen, if you watch porn, if you go out and you like
Buy the
support,
porn.
if you support like an independent sex worker who creates like cam videos, if you buy some like indie niche underground porn made by a cam sex worker, you're gonna be doing more for society than if you watched the Donald Trump slasher movie President Evil.
You're
Because you will
goddamn
actually
right.
be supporting a disenfranchised person.
You know, I'm really starting to get sold on this whole porn thing.
Yeah.
I think I may engage in the free market and go and purchase some porn.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
go
Down at my
purchase some
local
porn and then you're
pornomat.
gonna go ride on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Oh no! No! You and your reverse Uno card.
See you later, everybody. If you
right.
need us, we'll be watching porn. Remember to vote.
Remember to vote.
Exactly. Vote for porn.
Vote for porn.
Vote
for
for
president.
porn.